Have you ever wondered what it truly means to embody your unique gifts and create a business that aligns perfectly with your projector nature? If so, then you are in luck, because in this video I'm going to take you through the chart of an extraordinary individual who not only embodied his projector nature, but also has become an iconic figure in the world of personal development and impacted masses. Get ready to be inspired by one and only Dr. Wayne Dyer. Hello beautiful friend, and welcome to this channel. I am Barbara, and my passion is to empower and guide coaches, female entrepreneurs, leaders and changemakers to run a business leveraging their zone of genius and be massively rewarded for their gifts. Business based on your unique design that feels damn good and does not follow any other rules than yours. Dr. Wayne Dyer, a renowned author, speaker, and spiritual teacher who transformed the lives of millions with his profound insights and unwavering authenticity. He not only understood and embodied his projector nature perfectly, he also harnessed it to create a thriving business that touched countless hearts. Let me take you through his chart. Here we are taking a look at Dr. Wayne Dyer's key human design characteristics. Well, he was a projector, as you can clearly see from looking at his chart. How do we know that? We know that because his sacral center is undefined, meaning that he couldn't be generator type. Generator or manifesting generator, they are out of picture. He also couldn't be a manifester, because if he would be a manifester, he would need to have a clear connection with one of the motor centers to the throat center. There would need to be a clear channel connecting one of the motor centers to the throat center, which is not happening in here. And he also couldn't be a reflector because, well, there are a lot of defined centers. So that leaves him being a projector. As a projector, he was here to guide and direct the energy of others. As you know, projectors have inherent wisdom about guiding people, and he, without a doubt, was that guide for others. Let's take a look on his profile. He was 1-3 profile, which you can see from the line number, from the conscious and unconscious sun, conscious sun and conscious earth, and then unconscious sun and unconscious earth. So we are looking at the line numbers that are the numbers, after the decimal number, the decimal placement, which you cannot see here, but you can see it's 1 and 3. So this is his profile. He is 1-3 profile, which means that he was investigative and experimental. And such he tried everything on himself first. That's pretty natural for 3 lines and also 1-3s. He tried everything on himself and then shared with everyone else. 1-3 profiles tend to be brilliant resources for the world because they investigate and they experiment. They figure out what works and what doesn't, and then they'll share it with people so that people can learn from their experiences, mistakes, and failures, if such a things even exist. And he certainly did that. He did a lot of experimenting and a lot of sharing about what he was learning, and he brought his audience along with him as he was evolving. That's perfectly aligned for 1-3 profiles. It's also very typical for 1-3 profiles to not be in front of the spotlight. He certainly had an ego, and we're going to talk about his ego center in a moment, but he wasn't like, hey, look at me, I am the spotlight guy, I want to be the center of the attention. He had a quieter approach, more like, here is what I figured out and I'd like to share it with you all. And that's very typical, again, for 1-3 profiles. Moving to another human design characteristic, his incarnation cross. He has an incarnation cross of explanation. Very briefly, if you are new to incarnation cross, it is kind of your path you are here to travel on during your incarnation, during your life. It is the storyline of your life. Your incarnation cross is based on the top 4 planetary placements that you see in your chart. Okay, so your conscious sun, your conscious earth, your unconscious sun, and your unconscious earth. Those 4 gate energies make up your incarnation cross. Through the lens of gene keys, we call it activation or genius sequence if you are more familiar with this terminology. So let's go back to his incarnation cross of explanation. He was here to teach. He was here to explain. And as a projector here to guide, so he embodied it perfectly during his life. In fact, given his entire chart, he was here to be a genius, a spiritual teacher and guide, and that's exactly what he was. That's what he evolved into, and that's what he became as a greatest gift to the world. Coming back to the incarnation cross energy, the two conscious energies, his conscious sun and his conscious earth, these gates also form together a channel that's called freak to genius. This is the channel that connects the Ajna center with the throat center. You can see it in here. It's colored in black because it's on his conscious side. 43 and 23. Okay, this channel and his incarnation cross gates are all about having the out-of-the-box thinking. It's about a new paradigm shift. It's about seeing the world others don't see yet. We call it freak to genius because if people don't understand such people or are not ready to hear their revolutionary ideas, they might refer to you as a freak. And then on the other hand, when they are ready, then all of a sudden see you as a genius. They all of a sudden see the genius you hold within. So he had a capacity for genius thinking and the ability to translate the thinking into the words, into his books, and audiobooks, and he was doing a lot of speeches all over the world. Let's take a look on another interesting aspect of his design, and that's gate 56 that sits here in the throat as well. It's a hanging gate. You can see it's colored both red and black, meaning it's both conscious and unconscious, meaning that he most likely at times was aware of this energy, but sometimes he might also not be so aware. So that's literally what the numbers are referring to. But I want to talk more about this gate 56, which is a gate of a storyteller, which is a perfect match here. Can you see, if you know anything about Dr. Wayne Dyer, that he was brilliant author, and he told stories. He was brilliant as a storyteller, and that was how he shared so many of his profound messages. So he was definitely living his chart. He was definitely living his design. His only other channel that is connecting the G center, this one, the diamond in the middle, and the ego center, the little triangle in here. You can see there is a channel 2551. So this is a channel of initiation or a channel of love and spirit. Gate 51 is all about initiating people into spirit, and gate 25 is that love of spirit, that connection to that higher self, to love. This channel requires the ability to transcend the ego in order to connect with spirit. And even though he had an ego, he had that willpower. But that ego gave him the power to transcend it in a way that allowed him to connect to that higher consciousness, to the spirit, which, if you've read any of his books, you would know became very, very important to him. The final thing I will say about his chart is that his defined G center and his defined ego are really the motors that kept him going. Okay, so ego center is considered as a motor center within human design. He didn't have any other motor centers defined. There are 4 motor centers in human design in total: ego center, solar plexus, sacral, root center. You can see that those 3 are undefined for him. Root center is even open completely. He only had ego center as a motor center defined, and that helped him for sure to move forward and to be successful. He had a defined sense of self as well because of defined G center.
right? So he had, he had that defined sense of self, and he figured out who he was and where he was going, and he had a lot of momentum as he moved forward. And that will center, that ego center, gave him a lot of momentum. It gave him that energy, as ego center being a motor center. He had a motorized sense of self and direction in life. The defined ego center is also relatively rare in humanity. Approximately only 1/3 of population has this center defined, give or take. And that, and that's what enabled him to do to do so many amazing things with his audience. And when I say that, I mean that he could empower people around him. He could empower the rest of us, that with his willpower energy, that was very natural to him, that he was carrying within, the rest of the population, they could, tune into, people could take and amplify that willpower and feel empowered and feel like, wow, I can do this. They felt, a lot of people, when they are reading his books or listening to his books, or people who've been attending his speeches, they would be like, oh my gosh, like I feel so empowered, because you feel it from his energy, you feel it, it's like coming from him, whether he is talking to you, or whether you were in person with him, or whether you are reading his books, you cannot help it. It's energy, is always present. So that was the last piece that I wanted to share. There's definitely more to dive into, but for the sake of keeping this brief and covering only the most important characteristics, that's where we're gonna finish. I do hope that you see how aligned he was with his design. It almost blows my mind how aligned he was and how perfectly he was living his design. So all of these factors definitely have contributed to the success and mostly to the impact he had achieved in his life and his career.
If you also desire to step into your genius and contribute to this world with your own unique talents and gifts that only you've got, with that special combination, and you also want to run your business your own unique projector way, then I'd like to invite you to consider AWAKEN in Biz, the live group program for projector souls, where you're going to get the full-on support and guidance on rebuilding or creating a business your own unique projector way. Link for joining the waitlist in the description. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to learn more about the human design, I would be so grateful if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. You can also share this video with other fellow projectors who might benefit from it. Thank you so much for being here until now, and I'll see you in the next video.